What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Neostarling, and I am back here with another video. I thought I'd try something a little different here. So what's basically happening is that I wanted to have a podcast talking about confidence and competency, but I was trying to find some inspiration to do this properly, to do it actual justice, as opposed to just randomly blurting statements out, right? So I'm going to do it in more of a story format. For those of you familiar with my content, I don't typically do a story format, but I'm going to do it in this case because I feel that it is the best way for me to articulate what's going on. Yes, I am in my own vehicle. This is not a rental. I own this, and it's fully paid for. With that said, I wanted to talk about competency and confidence and how they go hand in hand together. So back in the day, I want to say early 2000s, maybe like 2009, 2010, around there, I started working in IT, right? I've never had any prior experience. I did not go to school for it. I didn't do any of this. I just so happened to know someone that was in the industry that was really good at it, and they got me a job through their connections, which is why it's important that your network is your net worth because of situations like this. So the dude gets me the job, and I'm super nervous. Extremely. In my mind, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I have a base understanding of technology, right? Like, I know how to use the internet, I know how to write, I know how to read, but I don't really know how to fix anything. So in my mind, I'm like, what am I going to do? Right? And one day I went to his house, and he had a computer that he was working on. So he tells me, listen, I want you to take this apart and put it back together. It's for a client. And I'm like, okay. I figured it'll be great practice because of what's happening. Basically, I'm at a position right now where I'm going to be doing this for a living, so I got to get some hands-on training. And he explained to me, he was like, don't worry, bro. They're like Legos. And once he explained it like that to me, that's why it's important to use simple language sometimes, because by him saying this is like Legos, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, okay, these are just like pieces that I just got to put together, basically, right? Like, no big deal. It'll be easy. It's a McFlurry. It's nothing, right? So I do that, and he was like, don't worry. As you start putting it together, if you don't know what you're doing, I'll name all the parts for you, and I'll guide you through it, so you're not doing this alone. So I start putting it back together, and eventually, after about an hour or so, I put everything together. Afterwards, he says, all right, now take it apart and put it back together again. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I see what's going on. This is some sort of like muscle memory, like Mr. Miyagi type training. And it really was. It really was. I did have the wherewithal to know that. And so I did it, put it back together. And he said, once you do this, you'll understand. So I started to understand. So I started working this job, and you would think the happy ending is I became a great expert, and that was it. But no, realistically, I was bad at the job. I was horrible in the beginning. There was in no way, shape, or form was I a good tech. And the reason for that is because I had a very base understanding. So what ended up happening over time, because I knew how to talk, I BS'd my way into a lot of situations. I was a good salesperson. I knew how to look at a product and tell people that, hey, something's up with this product. You need to get this repaired. So they would do that. And eventually, little by little, I would be in the background, and the other techs would start teaching me. They'd be like, hey, listen, I know this seems hard now, but after a while, you're going to feel like it's the same thing every single day. You're going to find these commonalities and these problems. And you know what? They were right. As time progressed, I started getting better and better at the job, which gave me more confidence when I was helping a client to let them know that, hey, you know what? This is the problem with your computer. It has some bad RAM. I can replace that for you. I'll install it. Again, it's Legos, right? Because it was hardware at this point. So I ended up doing that. And, I got pretty decent at the job, right? So the point of that story, and I'm going to tie it into another story in a little while, more in the present time, because that was a long time ago, is that I didn't have any confidence in the job that I was doing because I wasn't confident in what I was doing. I just wasn't confident overall. Like, I was bad at it because I didn't know how to do it. I didn't have the competency to properly do this job. So what ended up happening? Fast forward, and now I know how to do this job, because I've spent so much time doing it that I've become competent in what I'm doing, so I became more confident. Same thing goes for driving. This is my first vehicle. I know I'm a 37-year-old man, and this is the first time I got my own vehicle. And I was super nervous about driving on the highway because, realistically, it's not something I've done. I've been driven around most of my life because, I didn't have the money. I didn't have my own car. And so as a result, why are you honking, bro? Calm down. So as a result, I was nervous. It took some time and training with the car for me to get comfortable enough for me to get on a highway and not feel like, oh, it's all doom and gloom, I'm gonna crash. No, I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel that way at all, because again, I'd been well practiced at it already at this point. So the point that I'm trying to make, guys, is that in life, if you're not good at something, you have to train to become good at it. Now, that might sound simple, right? And you're probably thinking to yourself, this is what this whole video is about. Wow, what a revelation. And it's not a revelation. It's very simple. There's no way you could be confident in what you're doing if you're not competent in your skill set. You have to train. If you go to the gym, you're not going to get six-pack abs just by going once or twice. No, you got to really train. You got to hustle. You got to start. Your nutrition has to be on point. Your consistency has to be there. There's a lot of factors that go into becoming good at what you do, right? So with that said, fast forward now to the current time, COVID hit, and it hit a lot of people hard. It really did. Like, people were freaking suffering here. So I lost my job, right? I had a pretty good job, and it was stable for a lot of years, and it was gone. Whatever, it happens. Fast forward, another friend of mine who's a great friend of mine, and again, your network is your net worth. Don't ever forget that, because the people you surround yourself with will ultimately dictate how you live your life in general, right? And this dude works a really good IT job, and he was like, hey man, if you need a job, you should have said something a long time ago. I would have hooked you up. I didn't know that his company was hiring, but they are, or were rather. So I was really nervous because by then I'd been out of the IT world for several years. You got to remember, guys, this was all the way back in, like, I want to say 2013, 12, 13, around there. So I hadn't done this since then. I did that IT job maybe for a couple of years, and fast forward to like 2020, I'm super rusty. My skill set is just not as good as it used to be. Don't get me wrong, it's like riding a bike. You don't really forget it. It's still there, but I was nervous. So when I got interviewed for the job, and I got the job, and I was really happy about it, but that was partly because of my friend. He put in a good word for me, and he's well praised in this company. So, I get hired, and I'm super nervous. My first day, I start not computing things properly. They're training me online. Obviously, they can't train me in person because of the situation that we're in. So we're working remotely. And there was just so much information being thrown at me at once that I didn't know what the hell I was doing. In my mind, I was like, oh, this isn't going to end well, man. Like, I'm going to fail. Like, I can tell. I felt it in my freaking being that I was going to fail. Why? Because I'd been rusty. I hadn't done this in so long, right? So the first few days were really rough. I remember even telling my friend, dude, I don't know if I can do this, but at the same time, I didn't have a choice because I'm not working anymore. So it's either like put up or shut up, like it's sink or swim. There is no other way out. No one is coming to save me. I am in charge of my own destiny at this point, right? I could put out all the content that I want. I can give advice. I can help people out. People can help me out. But at the end of the day, we still need to make a living, right? In one way, shape, or form, or the other. So, I told myself, you know what? I'm going to go back to basics. I'm going to actually take an hour a day or two after I'm done training rather, and I am going to really learn this shit. Like, I'm going to learn it really well. And I started studying more and more, and slowly all that data that was being fed to me, all these notes that I was taking that seemed so insurmountable, that seemed so much, it was so daunting. And suddenly it started becoming more clear to me. I was like, okay, I'm starting to get this information little bit, little by little. Now, granted, they weren't going to have us do like any hard work right away because we were still in training. And as time progressed, fast forward now, I'm pretty good at the job, because I took the time to study my craft. I practiced my kung fu so that I would be at a point where I am confident enough to do this job because I'm competent in it now. I revamped my IT skill set. I started reading articles. I started training more. I started taking it seriously because honestly, I didn't really have a choice. It was either like sink or swim at this point. Same thing with driving. I wanted to buy a vehicle for a long time. I was in a good position, so I did it. I just took the plunge and I did it. And that's why I'm recording this from my car right now, because I still want to produce content, but I also want to enjoy the day. It's Easter. It's a beautiful day outside in New York City, in Queens, and I'm enjoying it. So, with that said, fellas, ladies, it's very important that you realize that in this life, in order for you to become confident in what you're doing, you have to become competent at it. That's with anything in life. That's with relationships with friends and family. That's with work. That's with personal projects, with passion projects. With anything that you want to do in this world, you have to legitimately train for it. Whether you're at the gym, whether you're starting a new relationship, and you're trying to like figure out this brand new human being that you're developing feelings for, or whatever the case may be. You need to know what's up. You need to learn them. They need to learn you. And through that process, you start to become confident. Confidence is a real thing. Confidence is not finite. Confidence can be infinite. You ever worked in the service industry and didn't need a little booklet to take down the orders of the people that you're serving? I've been in that position. I've memorized these menus so well that I legitimately did not have to in any way, shape, or form write anything down. I kept it all up here because I was just so good at it, and with that said, I implore all of you to actually take some time and realize that it's a lot better than you think it is. You're able to be good at what you want to be good at, but you have to actually put in the effort. There's nothing that you can't learn in this world. I'm gonna park right here because I just got to the park, and I'm gonna walk around because I'm still about fitness, and I'm gonna walk for 5, 6, 7 miles right now. I just came out of the gym, by the way, so I'm feeling good. I'm feeling energized. I got me a nice healthy green drink. This is 7 veggies. I want to strengthen my mind. I want to strengthen my ability to be able to communicate the knowledge that I give to the world, that I project to this universe. I'm projecting my thoughts into this cell phone that will go into the ether of the internet and spread to the rest of the world. And you know what? Even if only a couple of you see this, it's all good. It happens. Look, I just took a ride right now in a car that I bought that I didn't think I'd be able to handle while recording this video and talking with coherency, right? My mind is getting better because I am making myself do difficult things. You become confident by putting yourself in difficult situations. If the most difficult thing you've done from this point is go to and from the grocery store, that's the level of difficulty you're prepared to deal with. You won't grow, you won't ascend. And look, I get it. Not everybody is an entrepreneur. Not everybody can sing or dance. Not everybody is meant to reach that upper echelon. Some people might be content to just be a worker and just do their construction job or whatever the case may be, come home to their family or by themselves or their animals, and they're chilling, But for those of you that want to grow, for those of you that are nervous, I implore you, if you've ever wanted to start a podcast, if you've ever wanted to get into content creation, just hit the record button on your phone like I'm doing right now. Our cell phones are so good now. The camera quality and the audio quality can be so good that you can start off just on your phone. Just hit the record button, talk in front of a mirror, just talk. And you don't have to post it right away. Heck, it's all good. Just talk. Because eventually, as time progresses, you're going to get better at what you're doing. I guarantee you that, because no matter what you say, no matter what you do, you're only going to be as good as the amount of effort you put into something. Confidence comes from competency. So become confident in your skill set, become confident in yourselves. And there's nothing in this world that you can't achieve. But with that said, it's getting pretty hot in this car because I am now stationary. I don't have my air conditioner on because I didn't want all this noise to interfere. With that said, thank you so much, guys, for checking this out. I have had some channel growth, which has been pretty good. I've had some really good opportunities lately, and I'm feeling really good and happy about it. You're all amazing. Don't ever let anyone tell you different. Stay the course. Deuces.